everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So let's talk for a second about Bert I. Gordon, the patron saint of making horrible movies for several decades for some apparent reason. I've seen a bunch of his movies at this point, and I've, at this point figured out his peccadillos, his strengths, which there are virtually none, his weaknesses, of which there are too many to mention. But I actually didn't know that he actually have done a proper sequel. And he has his own little mini franchise within his cavalcade of hell, aka his filmography. Because apparently the amazing Colossal Man that came out in 1957 is apparently the first movie, and the movie that we're gonna take a look at today, War of the Colossal Beast, is apparently the sequel, which might be the reason why they chose to, talk about stuff that apparently happened earlier, which sounded much cooler than what happened in this movie. It does not excuse the rest of the horribleness that we're going to be exposed to for the next 69 minutes, but I do say that at least explains a little bit. It will not affect the ratings or anything like that. When it comes to Bert I. Gordon, this is not the worst thing he has done. Sometimes his movies can be almost sort of okay, like The Magic Sword, and almost a little bit hysterically so bad that it's good, like Village of the Giants. But sometimes they can also be so downright bad that you don't know what you're going to do, if you're going to scratch your watch and whine your ass. But let's find out why this movie is so terrible and what it is about. This is War of the Colossal Beast. Great title, by the way. So a truck has vanished out of thin air in Mexico, and the driver, Manuel, is in total shock. Now the owner of this thing, Mr. Swanson, is just mostly annoyed by the fact that his truck is missing, and the insurance company ain't buying the fact that a truck just goes missing without leaving a single trace, and stuff like that. The US government, however, is a little bit more interesting in how this thing disappeared, because they think that this truck might have been taken by a beast, a colossal beast if you want to, and they're trying to find out if he's roaming the Mexican countryside. Now we do hear from his loving sister, who tells them that he was exposed to radiation and he grew from a normal man to a 60-foot man, and then he disappeared. How can a 60-foot man with half his face torn off just wander around the countryside in Mexico and nobody, notices him or mentioning him or, call somebody regarding this? It's basically the same logic that applies to Godzilla and how we can walk around on Manhattan without anybody, seeing him either. But that's a story for another time and a movie that I've already reviewed. Are they going to be able to stop him? Are they going to be able to, capture him? And can the love of his sister actually, make the monster go away and he can, reclaim his humanity? And will he be able to be cured somehow? Or will they be forced to, kill him? That's essentially what this movie is. And shortly after that, we're getting our first, unfortunately not the last, exposure of this super underwhelming, superimposed monster thing that is terrorizing the Mexican countryside and to an extent also the United States, but that is for a later time. Now, as most things are with the Bert I. Gordon things, the action sequences are laughably awful. There is an overuse of stock footage to make the movie look a bit better than it is, and he always focuses on the least interesting thing and skips over the thing that could have been potentially interesting. Add to that a lot of horrendously bad performances by a bunch of horrible amateurs, and you have a classical Bert I. Gordon stew going on. You don't really care what happens. This movie is a very short movie that feels very long, and it's a chore to get through. It moves so slow, and whenever we don't have the bad looking Colossus man who is, picking up stuff and throwing them away and it doesn't look very good, we have, bad sequences that goes nowhere, featuring characters we don't care, and everything looks bad and cheap. And I do like the fact that, you know, his half of his face has been, you know, torn off, and that was apparently due to some battle he had earlier. It's glossed over and barely mentioned, and now I kind of realize why, because that probably happened in the first movie, which makes me actually a bit more interested of seeing the first movie now that I know that Bird Eye Gordon has done that also. Not that I, you know, enjoy watching Bird Eye Gordon movies, I scorn them. I think they're quite awful, but now at least I have to sort of see it to see whether or not this movie is more palatable than this damn thing. The movie ends in a logical way, which I thought was at least some kind of closure for me and for the characters. So the best thing that you can say about this movie is that the ending was not bad, but everything else absolutely sucks. Horrible acting, horrible script, awful special effects, slow and plodding, and for all purposes a movie that you will see once but then wish you will never have to watch again. This is true classical Bird Eye Gordon garbage, but he has done worse. This is a classic, you know, huge 1970s monster science fiction things, and if you like that sort of things, and why would you, I don't know, then you should watch this movie. But if you have the slightest doubt regarding the quality of this movie, then skip this. I do mean it, skip this movie. This is horrendously awful. I give War of the Colossal Beast 8 points. This is a bad, horrendously awful movie. The face of the beast is at least something unique, and the ending was at least logical, but basically everything else absolutely sucks. This is not even a good story, which, you know, sometimes can be the case for Bird Eye Gordon movies. They have just, you know, cut so many corners and done it in such a piss poor way that it doesn't work anyway. But in this case, the story just is bad. Simply bad. So I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.